back in December when I was the angry Buddhist. I'm not angry today. I'm probably the sad Buddhist today, and I'll explain why in a minute. I turned 61 this year, and so I've been reflecting on my life. The good news for me is that I made it to 61. The bad news for you is that I'm still here, and I'm ready to yank some more chain. I hope I don't offend you. That's not my intention with this video. And of course, if you are offended, you can always turn it off. However, what I really want to do is get you to think a little bit about life and what's going on in the world. As I said, when I turned 61, I started to think about my life and some of the things that have happened over the course of my life. And one of the things that I started thinking about was all of my friends who came back from Vietnam in body bags. Not a real happy thought. And that got me thinking about all the wars that we have had in the last 100 years or so. I did a little checking. In the 20th century, 160 million people died in conflicts. Since my birth, there have been over 81 major conflicts in the world. And I don't take responsibility for those. I was a baby when some of them were going on. But that's a lot of conflict. And so what I started thinking about was, why is there so much war in the world? And what can we do as individuals to make the world a more peaceful place? I came to the realization, thinking about this, that we don't prepare for peace. As a culture, we prepare for war. I love to eat. If you could see me up close, you'd probably tell how much I love to eat. But that also means I like to cook. When I'm cooking, I'm preparing to eat because I know I'm going to get to eat in a little while. Most mornings I go for a bike ride when the air is still crisp and cool. It feels wonderful. I prepare for my bike ride by putting on my favorite biking shorts. I get my bike ready, I check the tires, I get my water bottle, I grab my helmet and my gloves, make sure my speedometer is working. All of those things are things that I do to prepare because I know I'm going to go for a bike ride. Most countries have a Ministry of War or a Ministry of Defense, and unfortunately, the purpose of those ministries and departments are to prepare for war. We have a Department of Defense in the United States, and I can't remember when we have, in my lifetime, been attacked on our shores by a foreign force. We prepare for war, and because we prepare for war, we get war. That's caused me also to start thinking about whether or not I live in a Christian country. Some of you know that I'm a Buddhist, not a Christian, but I did a little checking in the Christian Bible and found some interesting verses that I thought I would share with you. In Matthew 5, I read, "You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, but I say to you, do not resist the one who is evil, but if anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also." When was the last time you saw Christians behaving that way? Or more importantly, when was the last time you saw your country behaving that way? In Luke 6 we read, "But I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those that hate you." Christ didn't say, hate your enemies and bomb the heck out of them. He said, love your enemies and do good to them. I've always liked Mahatma Gandhi's statement, I love your Christ. I love your Christ too. Your Christ was a lot like my Buddha. But Mahatma Gandhi said, I like your Christ. I do not like your Christians. Your Christians are so unlike your Christ. While we say the United States is a Christian country, we don't behave as a country as if it were Christian. We don't live the laws that Christ taught us, and that makes me question whether or not this is really a Christian country. Unfortunately, it seems like individuals have their own ministries of war as well. When I commute to work in the morning, I get to see road rage. I get to see people tailgating, drafting like they were trying to prepare for a NASCAR race. I get to work and there's backbiting and envy and strife. All the kinds of things that I wouldn't expect to see among people who are living Christ-like lives. So there's war for lots of reasons, but one of the big reasons is there's war because we constantly prepare for war. What can we do about it? Well, first of all, I think we need to act on the individual level. I'm a product of the 60s, proud of it too. One of the things we used to say was think globally, act locally. I tried acting globally. I've tried a few times. I spent 6 or 7 years working on humanitarian projects in developing countries. As I look at the world, I'm not sure that I changed the world much. I maybe helped a few individuals, but what I really did was change me, change the way that I view the world, and change the way that I think about my place in the world and other people. So one of the things we can do individually is to make internal changes within ourselves, rather than expecting the world to change around us. In Mahayana Buddhism, we talk about the 10 conditions of life. They're sometimes referred to as the 10 worlds. The first 4 are the ugly, hateful, nasty worlds. They're the worlds of hell, hunger, animality, acting like animals, and anger. Those are the worlds I would like us to get out of and move into the other 6 worlds, which are a lot friendlier and a lot more peaceful. The first one of those is humanity. That's where we have developed the ability as humans to make reasoned judgments. How often do you or the people around you make knee-jerk judgments? They react instinctively to something that happens, rather than thinking about their actions before they act or before they talk. All too often we act instinctively, and that means we don't act like humans. Humans make reasoned, thoughtful judgments before they act. The next world is the world of joy or rapture, a world of happiness. That's followed by a world of learning, and not just learning math and science. Differential equations are cool, but learning that leads to a desire to be on the path towards Buddhahood. Or if you're a Christian, on a path that leads towards living a Christ-like life. The next world is the world of realization, the world where we understand or realize the true nature of things and our place in the world and our relationship to each other. The second to last world is the world of bodhisattvas. That's the world of individuals who have taken a vow to help lead other individuals to enlightenment. And finally, the world of Buddhahood, where everyone is enlightened, everyone is peaceful. One of the other things we can do is to meditate for peace. I was surprised to discover that there have been over 40 studies on the effect of meditation on peace, and they generally demonstrate that when at least 1% of a community, and a community can be a town or a city or even a nation, but when at least 1% of the citizens of a community meditate on peace, there are significant changes in society. Society becomes more peaceful, there's less drama, there's less crime. So meditation works. It's not just sitting in a corner for your own good. Meditation affects the world. Another important way to foster peace individually is to dialogue. That means to talk to people and to really listen to them. When they're talking, don't be developing your own rebuttal, but listen to what they have to say, empathize with them, and talk. Talking is much better than fighting. Another thing to do is to develop a right view. Have you ever looked at pictures of the world from outer space? I love pictures of the Earth from outer space, and one of the things I discovered a long time ago was when I look really carefully at those pictures of the world, there aren't any political boundaries. It's just one big, beautiful globe floating out in space, and we're all stuck on it together. We have a tendency to like PLUs. PLUs are people like us. The world is full of people, and a lot of them aren't PLUs. They have different cultures, different attitudes, different religions, but that doesn't mean they're bad. It just means they're different. And if we view the world as a great big blue ball floating out in space and we're all stuck on it together, maybe we can change our view of the world and start to view everyone as brothers and sisters, not foreigners or people who are different from us that don't deserve the same treatment as our PLUs, the people like us. And that helps us develop tolerance so we avoid the PLU system. What can we do on a national level to foster peace? I think the most important thing to do is to deinstitutionalize war. While I doubt that it will happen, I'd love to see countries eliminate ministries of war and departments of defense. But at least we could transition to countries where everyone has a Department of Peace. And that would help us transition from a culture of war to a culture of peace. Right now, once in a while in the world, we experience passive peace. Passive peace is the lull between the storms. If you think about a football game, after every play, which is the war, the team huddles. And that's the peace where they make plans for the next war. That's not real peace. Real peace is active peace. Peace that occurs when peace becomes the normal human state, the normal human experience. And war is the exception. If you remember the old song, American Pie, the marching band takes the field and refuses to yield. And that's when there's peace. That's what I dream of. That's what I hope will happen. Another thing to do to foster peace worldwide is to eliminate needless suffering in all places of the world. We have the resources, but not the will to do that. And so I hope that you can develop peace as an individual, and if we all start to become peaceful individuals, then someday maybe my grandchildren will see peace on earth. And that's what I hope for, and that's what I long for. If you're interested in learning more, please visit my website or the website of Hongaku Jodo. I'll post them in the text for this video. At Hongaku Jodo, we're developing a graduate certificate program in peacemaking, and Sensei Mui has started the Hongaku Peacemakers Sangha, which you might be welcome or interested in as well. I wish you peace, and thanks for watching.